When drawing, I usually determine if my subject is wider than it is tall or taller than it is wide. This ratio of width to height is important for creating and maintaining the overall proportions of my subject throughout the drawing process. You can think of this width to height simply as a diagonal line. Imagine your subject with a box around it, creating a rectangle. It's the diagonal of this rectangle that's going to create the proportion. So in order to draw this object smaller or larger than it actually is, or even the same size, we must maintain this diagonal and width to height ratio in order to keep it in proportion to the original. So looking at the portrait I drew of my cat recently, we can see there is a ratio of 4 to 5. It's actually an 8 by 10 drawing, but the ratio can be reduced to 4 by 5. The numbers aren't really important. I'm just using them to demonstrate the need to maintain proportions no matter how big or small you draw your subject. Anything I observe on my reference photo or subject, I want to also make sure it is the same within my drawing. Using simple horizontal and vertical lines to do so is an effective method. This will help to maintain overall proportions. When I begin on pencil and paper, I start by deciding how large or small I want my drawing to be. I do this by drawing two opposing lines to determine either the width or the height of my subject. In this case, I chose the top and bottom. Once I have these drawn out, I don't change them at all throughout the drawing process. The only lines that will change will be the left and right sides. This is what will determine the proportions. I then begin judging angles and loosely blocking in my subject using the top and bottom lines as guides and building off of those. Finding a center line can be a helpful guide, but that requires some measuring, which I'll cover more in depth in another video. Now I can use vertical and horizontal guides to line up elements of my subject, and eventually I'll start to use comparative measuring to locate the exact placements and find the correct location for the left and right sides and all outer lines. But I'll go more in depth about that process in another video. For now, just know that you can determine the height or width of your subject and draw these lines on your paper without any measuring. Keep them where they are and only move the two remaining sides to determine the correct proportions. This is a good method for determining and guessing proportions when drawing. Here's a quick recap for everything I just covered. Pause the video if you need to. Be sure to check out my other tutorial videos for drawing and painting. Also subscribe to see future episodes. Peace.